And welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Josh, and today we are going over another work that Dan selected for our channel. We are going over a book that he picked, and that is Sphere by Michael Crichton. This is the second Michael Crichton book that we've gone over, the first one being Jurassic Park back in season 9.
I think that's one of his most popular, I believe.
Yeah, it's his most renowned book that he wrote. He also created ER, the TV show. You have a discussion, sir, Dan?
Yes, I do. So, in the book, we hear all about the sphere. We don't really know who made it. We can assume aliens. But my question is, whoever made it, or wherever it came from, what do you think is the sphere's purpose? What is it supposed to do?
I think that the purpose pertains to human beings, or whoever comes across it, being able to figure out their actual purpose. The whole idea, I feel that the exploration itself is allegorical in the fact that humans have the continuous tendency to overstep their boundaries. They crave control toward things that they are not entitled to. Their efforts will often hurt or kill other beings, which the interesting thing to keep in mind is the fact that we will often kill off what we feel are pests or through hunting because it helps further what we need to do. In war, it's the same thing with common people. The alien was involved in the killing of 7 out of 10 of the people on this particular expedition. They didn't know that what they were doing was damaging them to the point that it killed them. And the other 3 were pretty much pushed around to the point that they were mere deadly experience.
What do you learn?
I think it depends. If it was made by the alien, like you were saying,
Yeah.
then I would say that it could have been exactly what they said in the book, where it's a test to see the species that find it, whether or not they are able to master it and then not be a threat to the universe, or else be extinguished. Or if it was created by us in some distant future, then it might have been, the idea behind it might have been that it would allow us to actually create what we imagine, like with noble intentions of trying to, cure world hunger or whatever. Like we could do anything we want, anything we can imagine, but then turned out to not account for our unconscious mind and cause all kinds of problems.
He doesn't remember going into the sphere. He ends up creating the book of 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and you can never get past the part of the giant squid. So all the copies of the book that appear only go up to the part of the giant squid, then the rest of the pages are blank. And then later on, a giant squid appears and starts attacking everything. It even kills one of the shipmates by throwing them around and whatnot. You guys gave both very excellent ideas of what the sphere purpose is. Mine is that I believe it was created for good intentions. It would give people what they wanted, but make it physical. Because Harry would probably want to get over a sphere of giant squids. Beth tried to make herself look beautiful. So I believe it gave people what they wanted by allowing them to alternate reality. And whoever originally created the sphere probably, when they used it, didn't realize that sometimes people won't always use it with good intentions. That what they want isn't always good for the person.
And it also does quite a job getting into the subconscious of humanity, because it takes the form of the subconscious of the individual and what they are thinking. I think that the most enlightening part in this piece has to do with when Jerry, in quotation marks, the alien, pretty much tells them, actually first he says to Harry, and I quote, "Norman, your tricks of manipulation are childish and obvious to the point of tedium. I am not interested in talking with you further. I will do exactly as I please, and I will manifest as I wish." Humans do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what they've done to other people and other species.
Yeah.
But the most enlightening part is, you should not be down here in the first place. You people do not belong here. You are arrogant creatures who intrude everywhere in the world. And you have taken a great foolish risk, and now you must pay the price. You are an uncaring, unfeeling species with no love for one another. But this is coming from Harry's subconscious. Yeah. I think that using Harry to display these thoughts, being a black man and the fact that black people have historically been seen as outcasts.
Yeah, it's his subconscious thing.
It's very thought-provoking.
That's a unique perspective I have had on the whole thing. Upon rereading this book, I kind of noticed that my original thought of the book was not correct. Originally, I thought, oh, the spaceship that they found was them from the future who found the sphere again, and then somehow crash landed in the past. Upon rereading again, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Even upon a reread, you do get a whole new idea of the book.
But I think that ultimately Norman's interaction within the sphere and the whole idea that what makes us different from every other species is our ability to imagine.
Yeah.
But that imagination is a wide boundary, it doesn't necessarily matter if these are good things that you're looking to implement or evil things that you're looking to implement. It's just imagining. It takes them whatever direction they plan to go. They may think that it's good, but you got to talk to the birds, the bees, the flowers, and trees about whether or not it benefits them too.
Like a person's mind. Sometimes if you get scared or something like that, your mind can't stop imagining that fear. And the thing is, if you can manifest that stuff, that fear is going to come real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting that it went the way it did. I like that stuff that you were reading earlier, because there's also like a kind of a self-hatred exists in that part, right? About how people are arrogant and all this stuff. You know, in the worst case, of course, we are, but we're also made in the image of God, so it's not all bad.
I think that Michael Crichton does a great job displaying thoughts of reason. I think that the character of Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park was a better display of that. I think that here you have an alien doing so, but in the form of the subconscious of whoever enters the sphere.
Yeah. See, I'm not even sure there ever really is an alien. It's just the minds of these people.
Well, we find out like Jerry is technically subconscious of someone else on the ship.
On the ship.
Well, it's a facility ship, whatever you want to call it. Something that's underwater, like a sea lab.
Yeah, it's Harry's unconscious mind. And I like the way that Crichton did that too, right? Because the first person that went into the sphere was not expecting, had no idea what to expect by going in there. So the original manifestations are completely from that person's unconscious mind.
Yeah.
But then once Beth knows that you can use it to manifest things, so then she's more conscious about it. And her unconscious mind is a little bit more in the background, except for that one part where she's being chased by the tornado.
Yeah.
So she's trying to figure out how to control. But then by the time Norman gets into it, right, he can see, you know what I mean? Like everybody that goes into it has a better chance of being able to control it just because they understand more about it.
And we don't really see the other two like enter the sphere. We only follow the main character. Like we follow him
Norman.
Through his point of view, Norman. We follow his point of view through everything in the book.
Right. I think Norman, he's somewhat of that important hidden gem on this mission because more so a diamond in the rough, because he's the lowest ranked as far as everybody's concerned. He's a psychologist.
Yeah. And he wants to know how do you open the sphere?
Yeah.
Why does it open? What's inside of it when it does open?
And I think that the way he interacts with Jerry, I think he is more reasonable with his interactions, whereas everybody else they're doing it more in a way that they're interrogating him, kind of like...
yeah, but he's very
Captain
manipulative.
Barnes.
He's very manipulative. Like, that's not an exaggeration when Beth calls him out on that.
Yeah.
It's true. He is a very manipulative person.
Beth is a bit hypocritical too. She wants to knock him out with anesthetic because he poses the same threat as she does.
Yeah, because the thing is, she wanted to make him believe that he had gone into the sphere, but he hadn't gone into the sphere at that point.
Right.
Yeah. But she had. And she says, don't touch that video, don't touch it. And when he does and finds out that she went into the sphere, she is outraged.
Yeah. But still, I think she's got a point though about Norman being manipulative, because he is. I mean, he's manipulating the entire military, right, in the first place, because of the fact that he doesn't even believe any of the nonsense about aliens and all this stuff. He thinks that's all a bunch of garbage.
Well,
but still, he's willing to take a check in order to write this report on something that he doesn't even believe is possible.
Well, I think he like throughout most of the book, he's trying to be the edge of reason. You know, like. If you're...
By denying reason.
Well, here's the thing. In real life, if you came in contact with a strange object, like a monolith or a sphere, like in the book, you'd question what this is. Like, the things, like, you'd start thinking about it in a more realistic way. Like, you won't immediately think, aliens. You probably think, oh, some ancient civilization probably built this or something. You try and think of a reasonable, real-life explanation for why this thing may exist.
Yeah, but even before that, I'm talking about why he's even called there in the first place, because he wrote that report for the government.
Oh, yeah.
Because of aliens. And he's like, oh, that was just a joke. Remember, that's what he wants to say to Barnes in the beginning. He said, oh, that was just a joke. It wasn't a joke. You got paid, presumably, a lot of money. You had people up in airplanes scaring the heck out of them and all this, doing tests on people.
Well,
there's nothing about that's a joke.
Well, I think like the whole point of the book is supposed to be like these characters who are shades of gray. What would happen if they were given this power, the sphere provides them, and then them learning this is too great of a power, we should get rid of it. And things like that's what happens at the end.
Yeah.
Although we learned that in the end they get rid of the power. Although it's hinted and it's kind of left ambiguous that Beth may have kept the power. Thing is, there's the closing statement from Norman that he mentioned that she looked beautiful, which we know that she used the power of the sphere to do so. It's left ambiguous, like maybe she actually is beautiful and he didn't notice until now, or she still has the power of the sphere and she was the only one who didn't give up her memory of it.
Control had always been something that she was desiring.
Yeah.
Because it was something that she wasn't able to maintain or obtain going into the mission, which I think that also says a lot about gender, especially because this is 1987. They're still in a spot where they want to be in on more solid ground.
Yeah, I saw it as a critique of feminism in general.
Yeah, the time the book was written, women didn't really have much power in the military or the scientific studies that they were doing. I can see the things that maybe she wanted more control and not be judged by her gender, but by her mind.
But the one thing I didn't appreciate was that Norman could have very easily left them and made his way back to safety, but he decided to turn around and rescue them with very little time left before explosives would have taken place. He got them there within seconds. It started to explode behind them just as they were in quote-unquote safety zone. They didn't express any sense of gratitude for, especially Beth. There was no sense of gratitude for the fact that Norman could have easily left them there and been perfectly safe, but he turned around and put his own life on the line just to get them back, because he would have never been able to live with himself if he didn't.
I think the thing is that might have been the fact of the sphere, like the thing is they felt, the thing is that they were all higher up, the thing is that at that point of thinking and emotions probably had began to disappear at that point. Giving someone gratitude at that point just didn't seem to be necessary for them.
Maybe at that point, but it didn't happen immediately. Even the first reaction, Harry reacted in a very positive light, but Beth at that point didn't really seem to care until they started using that power to erase what had happened. But Beth allegedly...
Yeah. Well, there's no epilogue, so we don't know if Beth actually kept the power or not. It's just hinted that she may have.
Yeah, I was hoping for something a little bit more concrete, that one of the characters... Like, I was really expecting one of the characters to definitely not give it up.
Well, the things with Michael Crichton's writing, the thing is, like, he always makes you think with stuff like that. Like Jurassic Park, for example, the guy who created dinosaurs, he wanted to bring dinosaurs to life, have people, meet them. But you didn't realize the thing is that by cloning things, there's a reason why dinosaurs went extinct. They shouldn't be alive in our day and age, and the thing is,
He only wanted to have females so that they couldn't reproduce, but then he used an amphibian that can change gender.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
the thing is, they started giving birth.
What a mistake. First of all, you should have done all males, right? Then if you accidentally had a female, then you'd only have like one offspring.
Oh, yeah.
But if you created
all
all females and one male, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it was a nature-nurture thing, and I don't know, because the males would fight one another. I think a lot of, when people have pets, it's easier to keep the female pet. I know that but it also depends on whether or not you do or are able to spay or neuter them. But
also, we don't really know how dinosaurs were. I mean, we can assume by like how most animals are today that maybe a male T-Rex would fight another male T-Rex for dominance. And maybe the females wouldn't do that. But if you also look at the other animals, like a Brontosaurus, that one's not really fighting anything. It just wants to eat leaves, While it is big and could probably crush you, the thing is, it's just a harmless animal in most places. It won't eat you at all.
Even giraffes are very territorial. You ever see them swinging their heads around?
They fight with their necks.
Yeah, they use all the torque from their necks and pound each other with their heads.
It's weird.
You ever see that, Josh? Giraffes go at it?
I haven't seen them go at it.
We got off topic.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was Animal Planet.
What were
or
your
something.
thoughts about the other characters in this piece? They had a list of everybody on the expedition on pages, in my version, 27 to 28. What were your thoughts about everybody else that took part?
You mean like everyone that didn't survive?
I
The ones that didn't survive.
thought Levy was probably the most relatable.
Yeah.
Because he just said nuts to this.
I mean, she.
Yeah.
She was it?
Yeah, Rose Levy.
Oh no, it was somebody. Levine. I'm talking about Levine.
Yeah,
Who
Arthur
just-
Levine.
Yeah, he never went down. Right? He
Yeah.
just said nuts to this. I ain't going down there.
Yeah.
So I like him because he was smart.
So the thing is, like, I can understand the thing is, like, you know, there's a lot of people that's supposed to be on there.
Yeah.
A few characters I don't remember, like, I think her name was Kate.
I think they were pretty much
Like,
treated like
when I found out that she was
the
dead-
yellow shirts on in the original Star Trek.
Richards.
They were red shirts.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I
They
think,
were
like,
just
when,
pretty
like-
disposable. Not really.
Yeah, like, when we
Very
found out
well
that she was
developed.
dead, I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot she was
She's a
on
person
there.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about her.
I think aside from the three, Beth, Harry, and Norman, the other two that we get a great sense of because of their strong personalities
Barnes.
are Captain
Ted.
Barnes and Ted.
Yeah.
I mean, Captain Barnes is a very dominant, very possessive of his dominance to the point that he would withhold information just so that he's able to maintain control of the expedition. Ted is a bit more, he's a contemporary to the other people as far as the level is concerned, even though Norman is much older than most of them taking part.
With those characters that they gave us death, like including Arthur, their deaths feel meaningful because we had like a connection with these characters.
Yeah.
Like as I mentioned, Katie, I don't really remember much about her,
But
and when she
Alice's-
was died, I was just like, what?
I think Alice had a nickname
Yeah.
that was similar to that.
Yeah.
Was it Alice?
It's hard to say. I don't remember Alice much. Like, I mean, you know, these
Mhm.
characters, they are very, most of them are very disposable,
Yeah.
except for the ones that are actually there from the very beginning of the story, which in Ted and Barnes I include in that because they were like part of that initial briefing, and everybody else was down on the ship. Like everybody that was down on the ship already, or on the habitat already when they went down there, they were just disposables. They
Yeah.
didn't
Like,
provide much.
yeah, they really didn't do much to the story.
Everyone that you mentioned, everybody in that, those were pretty much all of the female characters except for Beth.
Yeah, because they liked females to be on underwater habitats. They said because of they're better suited for it.
That's
For
how
different
Captain
reasons.
Barnes saw it.
It sounded like that's how the Navy saw it.
Captain Barnes pretty much is the strongest voice of what reflects the Navy, but they went pretty quickly. One of them left the sub, and one of them went. It was a malfunction that they pretty much killed them,
Yeah.
and then the squid took out a lot of them because the alien that was thinking for the squid didn't have the concept of death.
And it was, what's his face's subconscious Harry's.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's afraid of giant squids, and
Mhm.
what happens is a giant squid came. I still remember that scene to this day, even when I read the book. Like, I was wondering when that scene was going to come up where Tentacle came in and just threw the guy around and basically, you know, killed him to death. You know? I think it was Arthur that was killed like that. I might be wrong about that. I forget.
Wasn't that was Ted? I thought.
Was it Ted?
Could have
It might have been Ted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was Ted because,
yeah.
but the way that others interacted with Jerry, they saw Jerry as being a potential enemy, or if anything, foil to their plan, being able to look into and claim the sphere. Norman was able to manipulate it a little bit more because he had a greater understanding of the way that subjects thought, being a psychologist.
We also get to see what's inside the spear from his point of view.
Yes.
But however, it's also been hinted at thing is that not everyone sees the same thing inside.
No, because I think what he's meaning there is his unconscious mind, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what he's facing in there.
Yeah.
So everybody would have faced their own unconscious mind, whatever
Yes.
it is.
And I think we get a good sense of what's in Beth and Harry's subconscious, not from an immediate point of view, but from how Jerry speaks as Harry's subconscious and the way that Beth handles the situation of wanting to knock out Norman so that because she felt that he was in the sphere and was posing a threat, just like they had to knock Harry out because they felt that he was bringing down the mission.
Now, did she actually think? But she's mentally unstable, right? She's losing it, her grip on reality. Maybe she actually was convinced herself that she didn't go in the sphere and that Norman did.
That could have been
That
what
might be
the
possible,
sphere
'cause-
did to her.
Harry doesn't remember going in it. Like,
Yeah.
it's clear
Yeah.
that he did. And it might be the things that she was trying to take control by taking out Norman because she thought him as the greatest threat, you know? she could have become more.
He was the only other being on there that was conscious.
Yeah.
Because Harry was knocked out.
She might have become like a little bit more power hungry from the sphere. We like. There's so many different questions you can ask about this thing because so much of it is shrouded in mystery. Like who created it,
right.
where that ship come from, who was that captain, and the thing is, what does the sphere do? What's its purpose? You know?
Right, and because it's told pretty much from the perspective of only one character too, so we don't get that omnipotent kind of perspective. So yeah, it's all kind of covered in mystery,
which I think works to its benefit.
Yeah,
hell, that's why we're discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the most terrifying part was when it was Beth and Norman alone, right? Like, before Norman went into the sphere himself. I mean, that's really a scary concept. Is to think, what would it be like to be trapped in somebody else's mind, right? Which is basically what's happening at that point.
When Norman had to escape Beth, but she pretty much had him cornered, but he was able to work his way through the situation. Do we have any final thoughts?
I liked it.
I did too.
I enjoyed it. You know, I don't know how much depth or whatever you can get out of it, but it's fun. It's a fun read and very enjoyable. Is able to be discussed, right? Like you can have a pretty good discussion about it. So yeah, I'd recommend it.
You have it. How would we rate it? 0 to 5 stars, half stars permitted, Larry?
For what it is, I mean, it's a Michael Crichton book, so it's going to be kind of pulpy, kind of pop, kind of fun, not too serious. All that going in. I'd say it's probably a 4-star work.
I have to agree with Larry, 4 stars. And for my reasons is that it's science fiction, but it's got a message behind it.
Mm-hmm. I'm 4 stars too. I give this 4 stars because I think that it is very well developed, and I think that it has very strong messages and is filled with substance. However, I think that what takes the star off at the end is the 10 that are on the mission. Many of them don't have the substance that they could have had. Yeah. And I also feel that the ending was I thought that the ending was a little bit watery. I would have been a little bit more satisfied if there was a greater sense of conclusion, and if anything, a sense of enthusiasm or gratitude. I mean, granted, the first reaction would be responding in that sense of exhaustion, kind of like the way that things concluded in The Martian, where it's not like you reach your destination and it's a Bollywood party. But at the same time, at least that sense of being thankful that you're away from the horror.
And maybe that comes in time. Maybe it's too soon after the events and you're still in the decompression chamber and you still got to come up with what you're going to tell the Navy. Maybe after all that.
And you're afraid that if you take your first breath, your lungs will explode.
There's that. Yeah. But I also, and
I remember them mentioning that, and I found out that was real later on in my life. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It is that sense of what's going to happen next for them. We get that sense of, I wish that it was concluded a bit better.
Yeah, I would have liked, as part of the conclusion, I would have liked, like I said earlier, I would have liked to see something really creepy at the end there.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like the...
Maybe a little epilogue or something.
Yeah, an epilogue or somebody. It doesn't have to be Beth, could be Harry, could be Norman, could be any of the three of them, but they kept it. Somebody kept it. I would like to have seen that.
It ended way better than the movie, I can tell you that. That movie... Okay, so anyone who watches the movie, don't, because the ending just does not make any sense at all.
It's a pretty forgettable movie. I saw it
when
it came out, and then reading this book now, I had no memory of what it was even about. Even though I had seen the movie.
Spear in that movie either.
Like I said, I don't remember. I barely remember who was in it.
Dustin Hoffman played Norman.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone played Beth, and Samuel L. Jackson played Harry.
Yeah. Great cast.
It's a shame that they weren't utilized properly.
Yeah.
A lot of Harry's parts are cut out, actually, in the movie.
And I think Harry is very important to the way that this is driven.
Yeah, plus you have Samuel L. Jackson, you're underutilizing him. Samuel L. Jackson.
He's the one I like the best. He's probably my favorite character in the book. So.
I would say I like Norman the best in the book.
Same Norman.
2-1. All right. If you're interested in checking out Sphere, here is my copy. The way that I rated it, I preferred it slightly better than Jurassic Park.
Wow.
No, really?
I have a lot more Michael Crichton to read because I would like to read more.
Another Crichton movie that was good is Rising Sun. That's a good one. That's Sean Connery and...
Rising Sun was the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller list on the fiction category the day that I was born.
Oh, yeah? Did you ever see the movie?
I need to see the movie.
I think it's Wesley Snipes. Don't quote me on that.
I'll look it up.
It's pretty good.
And on the nonfiction, it was a book by Gloria Steinem that was #1 on
You would know
the
this.
day I was born. I looked it up. But
Very cool.
Those are things I like to remember.
Yeah, nice.
Be sure to join us next time on another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.